Welcome to the Developer Series, a collaboration of the best architects, builders and developers, responsible for creating some of the most iconic and prestigious developments in Brisbane. Welcome to episode 3 of the Developer Series. Today we explore the unique building Bank, located at 527 Coronation Drive, Toowong. We are fortunate to share the insights from two very important individuals, starting with the developer, John Lee, owner and director of Ideal Property, and a development manager, Dan McKillop, director-owner of Berkshire Group. What achievement are you most proud of in developing Bank?
Yeah, I took on this project when I was 27. Very proudly say that too, yeah. I mean, obviously it didn't happen so quickly and everything sort of takes time, especially for the first one. And I mean, it brings me back sort of, that was what, 5 years ago, back in 14, 15.
John, you had an interesting story around how you originally came across the site.
I was driving past Coronation Drive like every other day, and then Mum was sitting behind my driver's seat and saw the signage just on the side on Coronation Drive and it says for sale. And then I thought, oh, this is a fantastic location. And we sort of went through, I'll drive through here daily at that time. So yeah, it was some sort of quite a stumbling block for, as a first thing, sort of, oh, do I want to buy the site? And obviously with the help of Dan and also Pete, sort of in the early stage of this project, we decide we have to pick up next door neighbour at the same time, creating a bigger frontage for the site. And that really creates and also identify the site to give the frontage, give the present on Coronation Drive, because it's pretty much a last infill site on the stretch of the road.
Bank is situated in a great location, but what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
There were squatters. There were squatters on the site, so it was kind of interesting because obviously being surrounded by the Regatta Riverside development, we thought we'd actually get a lot of objection initially from dealing with them. They're actually very happy that something was going to happen because there's obviously the squatter issues. And obviously to add to that is obviously the river, which is a huge positive for the project, but also flood levels and things like that.
The success of this amazing building was no accident. What strategies were implemented in the early stages to ensure the market received the project as well as it did?
We found pretty early on in the piece that it was all about just being open and honest with the neighbours. And that was a big thing that probably was a key fundamental to the actual entire philosophy of the development team, particularly for John. Being his first one, it was about transparent and authentic and real. So we were very honest with Regatta Riverside about our intentions up front, what we were going to do. We were very, even though the planning scheme allowed us to do a large number of apartments here, we specifically didn't want to do that for market reasons, but also the access being the way it is, we couldn't really have a huge amount of traffic traversing that easement, even though it was as of right for us. So that was a really big consideration.
When designing towers, you typically work from the ground up. Can you elaborate on this process?
Russ, who was the design architect from WMK, working with him originally, his big thing was always about, you see a site that's circa 1,600 square metres here and you go, oh, there's going to be plenty of room. And then it's just amazing how that space just gets eaten away by all of these constraints. Starting off in the basements and making sure you get those layouts correct, particularly with your structural layouts was a big thing to start off with. Then that afforded us, we knew how many spaces we could deal with.
This project pioneered riverfront living in the western suburbs. What differentiated Bank from the other projects?
For this sort of caliber of building, you do need to give that present. And what we use, especially this feature stone wall, we really want to not saying blend it in, but also being part of this on the Coronation Drive to fit in the building, but also really give that solid feeling of rounding. And the 4 meter wall of this sort of stone wall, that give us why we call it Bank. We want that strong feeling, we want that powerful stance. And obviously, since we've done the sort of back end of design, understanding how many car parks we need, and we start sort of working backwards. So if we're allocating 2 car park as a minimum requirement, not only for the top floor, for the middle floor, but also for the smallest 2 bedrooms, and that really start creating quite a niche and unique sort of product for this market. And especially, on the western side of Brisbane, We got such amazing location, north facing to the city, on the river, you got no blocking. And why aren't we making this as one of the best home for our residents?
The relationship between architect, builder and developer is becoming more important than ever. John, how did you choose the team around you?
Put it this way, it's actually my privilege to work with a professional around me. I'll be honest, this is my first project, as we mentioned earlier, but it's sort of surrounded by right people and surrounded by professional people, sort of knows what they're doing, and also I put all this trust into them.
Dan, how critical was your role as development manager at Bank?
On this particular project, I think it was a situation where I think the role was definitely more, the scope of the role was more needed to be, the nature of the circumstances. But for me personally, like I kind of wouldn't have it any other way.
What makes a successful partnership?
Having that relationship with the owners, at the same time as, the people building, particularly McNab, we had a really, really great relationship, and in that respect, I think that's traditionally where you can kind of have a bit of conflict.
Yes.
Is between a builder and a developer. I think we managed that really well, but it was a collective thing. It wasn't me coordinating saying it's going to be like this, it's a team thing.
That's right.
It's a personality thing more than anything.
Developing buildings is more than just great architecture and well-designed floor plans. What emphasis was placed on the experience for the purchasers?
It was very, very time intensive. It was, again, a pretty good team effort in that one. I felt at one point, I was delivering 34 individual homes.
Managing expectations can be difficult, but the residents at Bank are very satisfied with their homes. How did you deal with the purchase of variations throughout developing the building?
In terms of the process, there was a lot of initial meetings.
Yes.
With kind of post-contract. And then we found a lot of purchasers, when they went to contract, they kind of written into their conditions like a lot of things that they wanted. But it seemed to kind of transpire when you actually met them. It wasn't necessarily what they wanted, it's what they thought they wanted. A lot of kind of resolving exactly what their scope was. And then in terms of on the delivery side of it, our superintendent was very good, Grant Spender. And then particularly Jed from McNab and Steve Pascoe, who was a contracts administrator. We spent a lot of time, the four of us, having meetings.
What were the advantages of working with a top-tier builder like McNab?
It was actually very time intensive to kind of, you were running a design process in real time while it's being built. So it was a really big credit, I think, to McNab, because again, that could also lead to variations for sure. There was this really kind of collegial, way that we dealt about this project, because I think everyone kind of felt that it was something a bit special.
What achievement are you most proud of in developing Bank?
It's creating a community. Put it simply that way. It's creating a community, and I'll be honest, I'm very proud and happy to see after the first months and second months I move in, they already start on the notice board says we're monthly catch up for Barbies. Every end of the month, they're playing golf together in Indooroopilly Golf Course. So some of them already know each other, even they don't know each other. And Mingo and all of that rest within the first couple of months after they moved in.
What key learnings have you made from developing Bank?
Sort of looking back, what we learned throughout this whole project, it is my first one, but I think there's whole heaps of experience and whole heaps of learning curve, especially for me.
It's been a pleasure working with you both at Bank, but what's next for Ideal Property?
So where we're going next is we're looking at quite a few sort of residential single dwelling houses. That's where we're going to, and we still have expertise in terms of design, understanding our clients, understanding our market, putting our touches into something in the everyday residential end. And I think for me, I still flow with the market, what the market tells me they need it, and then we provide.